Okay, so today I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about branding and
Okay.
about like doing your brand, selling your brand, and really work on branding and cross promoting. And so last weekend I went to this entrepreneur conference and we had some amazing speakers. And one of the guy, he started out by talking about like, have you ever stubbed your toe? And like, and somebody who had stubbed their toe and somebody who hadn't stubbed their toe had to explain to them what it felt like to stub their toe, and how like the shooting pain that goes through your leg, and how you're just like, oh my gosh, it hurts so bad, and how you have to put the feeling into it to like explain how to stub your toe. You can't just be like, oh, I hit my toe on this. Like you have to like really get into like explaining like the feeling and the in depth with that. And so he talked a lot about that and how that's how you want to like tell your story. And that's how you want to like deliver your passion about why you're sharing Plexus, because we all have a different story. Some of us, it's, I took the products and I had such great results that I have to share it with others because I just love it so much. And I know that it helped me and it'll help others. And other people might be like, I know this business opportunity is such an amazing opportunity. I just have a passion that I want to help people financially because this is an amazing company, So whatever your story is, you want to have that passion and feeling in your story, because when it comes down to it, that's what makes people want to try something, is your feeling and your passion, and not necessarily like, well, it's going to help your blood sugar and it's going to, make you lose weight. Like really it's the passion, because you can't excite somebody else by just details usually. Like even if they're a detailed person, there has to be something that kind of like clicks for them. That's like, that's what hit me. Like that detail hit me, the feeling I had that is like, okay, this might be the answer to what I'm looking for, kind of thing. Like there's still a passion and there's still like a feeling involved with that. And so as you talk about your story, you want to make sure that that's what you're getting to people. And so I was thinking about mine and I was talking to this guy and he's like, so tell me why you do it, and I was like, okay, like I ordered these products. I thought they would be one more thing that didn't work. And then when they worked, like I realized that like it really truly changed me, and it made me feel like I have myself again. And like I struggled for all those years to find answers to my health. And this was finally an answer that gave me my life back, made me want to become a mom again, enjoy being a mom, enjoy getting out of bed, enjoy like looking forward to the day instead of just dreading the day, And so he was really like helping me like pull out all that passion, because I've told my story a million times and I feel like I have the passion and I have it in it. But sometimes after you tell it so many times, you kind of like lose that. Oh, I tried these products. They were great. Now I love it. Now I'm going to share it with everybody, instead of like, no, I really have to get back to like the feeling. And that's what you want to share with people. And when you're making posts and you're making, messages to people, you want to put that feeling in there, even when you're like sharing a testimony of somebody else, you want to like, this really struck me because of this, and that's why I want to share it with you, or something. So you're putting the feeling in there. And then I don't know if you've noticed, like lately I've tried to even take the word plexus out of the testimonies I've been sharing. I've been, and I've just been saying supplements, and stuff like that. And I was talking to another girl, Ricky, that is just like taken off, and she's just like, and she has this amazing story. And I shared it a little while ago. And she's like, I don't have the word plexus in there at all. And I was thinking in my testimony that you guys shared the other day, I'm like, oh, it's in there like 4 or 5 times. I got to go rewrite that and like take plexus out and just say supplements. Cause she goes, if you take out the name of the company, then they're really getting the feeling, and they're really like reading it, the testimony for the testimony, instead of just saying, oh, what's this company? And then going and Googling the company, if that makes sense. So I wanted to encourage you, as you are making posts, try to put the feeling in there and try to take out plexus and just say like these supplements. She goes, you'd be surprised how it sparks the interest in people, and then they reach out to you. And in the beginning, people already know your plexus, you know, and so they're like, oh, it's another plexus post, da 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 da, you know, kind of thing. But as you start to take that out, and then you've made more posts over time, and then you slowly add more people, they would have to scroll quite a ways back to then go, what's this company, you know, kind of a thing. Yeah. And I did have that the other day, that I had somebody that reached out and friended me, and I always go to their profile, make sure they're one like a real person, you know, and not just like a fake account and stuff. And I could tell this girl and her husband were in this company, and that they were like going on trips and doing their business and stuff like that and having success. And it took me a long time before I like found a picture that had like the name of the company in it, in like the background or something. I went, okay, that's the company they're with, kind of thing. And I went, you know what? That's exactly what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get that people are going to like, wow, like I want to follow this person because she's positive and she's giving testimonies and she's this and that, and she's not just like the commercial kind of a thing. And I do still make some posts that are like some products here and there, you know, but I'm trying to get more away from that and trying to get more on, here's value I'm bringing to you. Here's value on gut health. Here's value on like positive quotes. Here's value on some testimonies. And I'm just going to keep bringing you this good stuff. And I'm surprised, like I had 2 people that reached out to me last week that I had never reached out to. And we're just kind of like, okay. And I'm like, okay, is it because I kind of changed my way I'm posting, or is it just because they were ready to try, you know, kind of a
right,
thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm really going to focus on that. And I'm really focusing on the new connections I'm making them connections and not even bringing up plexus, like really just establishing relationships, getting to know them, getting to like, you know, and purposely not bringing it up, you know, like purposely just getting to seriously know them, you know, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I got to know them. I said hi and asked them about them. And, you know, and then like 3 months later, I asked them about plexus, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing a good job of really establishing those relationships. And so really establishing the relationships, and then sharing your passion and sharing your testimonies, and even about the products. Like you can still be like, this is a great body cream that helps with this acne, you know, like, and that kind of stuff. Like if you want to, you know, and sometimes I'd say, you know, like PM me if you want to know more, but a lot of times they'll just message you if they want to know more. Like you almost don't have to say it. You almost just, you know, like, I'm so glad these supplements have helped this person. It has changed her life, you know, like I am so glad I can help people. And don't even say these plexus supplements, just say these supplements, you know, and like, and then by using great supplements and you're healing your gut and you're healing your, you know, thing. And I've even taken like in my, like little, under my picture, my little bio, I've taken plexus out of there, and I'm like, I'm a gut health expert. I'm like people that help people with their health and things like that, because I want people to then follow me because it's valuable information. And technically you could say like, okay, even if you never use plexus, you could still get some good information out of there. That's what I want, because I want people to get good information out of there, you know, and know that supplements are good and know that supplements help your body, you know, and then if they're ready to try a supplement, hopefully they'd reach out and be like, well, which one do you recommend, you know, kind of a thing. So, so I've tried to like, that's part of your branding, you know, and part of your, what do you want your brand to be? Maybe you're the brand of, I'm a mom blogger and I have, you know, all these kids, or you're a brand of like, oh, I'm in this profession, you know, I'm the RN or whatever. Or I'm a brand of, I'm, you know, a homeschooling mom, you know, like I want to be the brand of like, I'm a gut health expert. And so that's the direction I've gone in, like what I've used. And then even in like I always have used hashtags, but I'm like, oh, I need to really concentrate on using the hashtags I want people to look for. And so if your brand is you're a homeschooling mom, then maybe you have 4 or 5 hashtags that always say homeschooling, you know, those kinds of things that you put on every post, whether it's a post about homeschooling moms or not. because then they're going to find you and they're going to follow you. So I have a couple of hashtags that I created that I'm like, because every time I'm like, okay, which hashtags should I use? Boys will be boys, you know, like mess in the house or adventure or whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, I really want to be using gut health and like wellness and all those kinds of things in every post, so that if people are searching those, that then they're going to find me. And so we had like a little, I guess it was like an activity where we actually searched the hashtags, you know, and then I was like, oh, well, I realized I've got to be using the hashtags that I want people to search for to find me. So when you're doing hashtags and you're thinking about that, like put on the ones that like apply to the post, but then put those 3 or 4 of the hashtags of the ones you want people to find you from. So that can go with your branding too, of like, okay, what is it that I want my brand to be? What is it that I want people to find me for? Because we want to make those connections. We want to get those followers. We want to get those people that are searching for me. And nobody's going to search plexus and then start following you. But they're going to start following you because you're a gut health expert, or you're a homeschool mom, or you're a nurse, or you're a health expert. You know, like they're going to start following you because of that. And then eventually they'll trust you, and then they'll want to try the products you're trying. So another thing we talked about is the cross marketing, basically. And I had a notebook with all these stuff, and I can't find it. So if I don't cover one of the things, I can bring them up next time. But like we talked a lot about like cross marketing, and really search out people that would have influence that you could team up with. And so it's not, because I was like, oh, well, I'll search gut health and then like team up with those people. Well, I don't want to team up with the people that are doing the same thing I'm doing, because they're already teaching about gut health. I want to teach about gut health. They'll be like, why am I teaming up with you? We're both doing the same thing. So what you want to do is go, okay, do I want to team up with a mom blogger out there? And then like I'm helping her like promote her blogging, and then she's saying, hey, here's somebody that's got great supplements you can recommend. So you're not necessarily thinking of people that like, oh, I'm going to make them do what I do, but how can like my list of people and my influence of friends help this mom blogger? And then how can her list and her friends help me, if that makes sense? So like I can, so like, you know, like mom bloggers, there's tons of them that you could reach out and be like, hey, I'd love to partner with you. We can cross market. And that way I can, you know, whether you mention your blog or like you say, hey, can I be a guest speaker on your blog? And then like you ask me questions and I answer them, and you can do a blog article on gut health and how it affects moms and kids and tired and stressed moms. And then I can post that on mine that like, oh my gosh, I was this like guest speaker on this blog. And then it's letting all of my market see your blog, and then you'll get more followers. And then because you did something on gut health, then somebody might follow me, and then I might get more referrals for people who need supplements. Does that make sense? Like how you're cross marketing. And so you're always trying to reach out and like find new ways to like expand your market and stuff. Well, there's only so much you can do of like friending people and making contacts, you know, joining groups. You can do that too, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to then like get a few people from groups, because you got to really establish those relationships and almost wait for them to friend you so that you're not reaching out in a business, you know, way. And so we really talked about, and so then I was like, okay, well, one thing I've been doing lately is, because I want to be on gut health, I've reached out to like foot zoners and energy workers, because they have this business of like with their modalities, whether it's, you know, releasing trapped emotions, detoxing the body and foot zoning, you know, like even like the drummer ladies that with their rhythms, you know, they're releasing emotions and stuff like that, have all these networks of people. And so I can reach out to them and say, hey, I can help you work smarter, not harder, and teach you how you only have so many hours in a day and you can only fit in so many clients. So if you have 2 hours on each client, then you're only, you know, reaching 5 people a day. If you get them in 1 hour, then maybe you're reaching like 8 to 10 if you work a full day. And that's it. You can never see more than that many people. So, you know, if you're making $60 a person, you know, 10 people later, you've made $600, but you can never make more unless you actually offer them something and offer them an extra add-on or a, you know. And so I wrote up this little ebook that I can send to foots owners that's how to work smarter, not harder, and show them that how that same 10 clients that they just made $600 on, if they offered a vitamin to these 10 clients and they made a $5 profit, then they just made an extra $50. So then they're making $650. But if you add a gut health regimen and you just made 25 on top of that, you know, then you're adding $250. So you add the vitamin and the gut regimen and you just made an extra $300 that your same 10 people that you made $600 on, you've now made $900 on, you know? And so that's a cross market that I'm working on about like how you can reach other people that have networks and lists and influence with other people. And that you can then, you know, and then they're like, well, you know, why would we team up? And I go, look, if you would like to sign up as an ambassador, then you can just refer people to your website and then you're making the commissions. If this is something you're like, I don't care about making more money, but I want my clients to have good vitamins, then you can refer them to me. And then when I get a client, like I actually have a lot of people on Plexus that I have referred to foots owners that I'm like, you know what? Plexus really does help. But sometimes you need to like get some foot zoning done and detox the body or emotion code and get some of those trapped emotions out because you've got all the nutrients in your body, but you're still like psychologically damaging and self-sabotaging yourself, you know, and that is a very real thing that like you can have all of the tools before you, but if you like are like, this is never going to work. Well, there's a lot to it that it might not work because you're telling yourself it'll never work, you know? And so I have a lot of people that after a while and they've been taking everything, I'm like, okay, we need to look at another tool to help you because Plexus is just one tool. So then, you know, I can refer people to foots owners and, you know, and then they're increasing their wealth or increasing their clientele. And then they're also selling products, which helps me out, whether they refer people to me or they just sign up to sell, you know, that, and that's how I found one of my foots owners is that when I was getting zoned one day, she was just like, your gut health is so good. I've never seen anybody with gut health this good. Like, why are you even here? Like people who come here have all these problems, you know? And I'm like, oh, well, I won this foot zone, you know, and I won a coupon because I've been there and I know it's good. And I go, I kind of wanted validation that like what I was doing was working. And then she was like, I am in search of a vitamin to recommend to my people because they come and get zoned and they ask me about supplements and I have not found anything that's good. And then it was like, I want to know more, you know, and then she learned about it. So that's a market that I've been tapping into with foots owners because she goes, I can detox the body all day long, but she goes, I cannot bring inflammation down and they need more help on gut health because I can only do so much in that time they're in my chair and I need to send them home with something that will continue their health, you know? And so I wanted to bring that up of like, think outside the box. Think outside of like, okay, instead of making one or two friends here, one or two friends here, one or two friends, who could I team up with? Who could I market with? What are my strengths that I could offer to somebody? What is value that I could bring to somebody? And then have them bring value to me and we cross market. And whether or not they sign up as an ambassador because then they want to sell or they just refer and you refer, you know, like your mom blog might not ever join, but she might love to have an article on gut health and helping tired moms, you know? And so that would, you know, by being her guest person and then maybe you have a link to your, you know, Facebook page or bio at the bottom, then you'll get people who will be like, oh my gosh, here's this girl. I want to check her out more. And then you reach out to her, you know, and I know blogging is really still big, even though a lot of people don't do their blogs as much, but like these bloggers who are like bloggers, like know each other and like communicate and go to their blogging conferences. So if you can get into one blogger, more than likely you could go, hey, that was such a great experience. Do you know any other bloggers that would love to like have a guest speaker on their blog, you know? And I have another guy too that he's not necessarily like a mom blogger, but he's like a business guy, and he does these like forums, and he asks questions and stuff, and he's always looking for like authors and people with knowledge and stuff like that. And so that's something that you can look as well. And so what I did is I typed up this little pamphlet book, whatever, it's like in an ebook, so it's in a document online that I can send to those foots owners that explain how I can bring value to them and I can help them work smarter, you know. And so you can reach out to, you know, people. And at the conference, we had the girl that is the founder of Borboleta Lashes, and it's like one of those like fake eyelash company, you know. And so she talked about how when she first started and she was a lash artist, she reached out to all these other lash artists and was like, you know what? Let's collaborate. Let's collaborate and let's see what you're doing and techniques you're doing and techniques I'm doing, and see if we can collaborate together and learn from it. And she goes, and in the beginning, I got a lot of no's and a lot of no's and a lot of no's. And she goes, and then I just kept researching and improving my products and researching what are the best lashes and what is the best adhesive and all this stuff. And she goes, you better believe it now. I get people all the time that reach out to me. I want to do your lashes. I want to be trained in your studio. I want to know what you know. And so you might start reaching out in the very beginning and might get a lot of no's, whatever avenue you start reaching out, but don't get discouraged. Like, keep going, keep thinking outside the box, keep, you know, working on that, because that's what's going to like expand your network. You know, that if you're like, okay, I can go out and get 10 friends, or I can find a friend that has 1,000 friends, you know, and that's going to like, you know, reach out. So that's what I wanted to like encourage everyone today to like kind of do, is like work on that branding, work on that, trying to like pull plexus out of it, pull plexus out of your post, pull plexus, you know, out. Like when you meet somebody and they say, hey, what do? You can go, oh, I help people get more energy and improve their gut health to reduce, you know, to like get better sleep. Like, don't even mention plexus. Don't be like, oh, I work for plexus. And they'll be like, oh, what's plexus? But if you're like, oh, I help people improve their health and then get out of debt and in a financial better place, you know, whatever you want your one-liner to be, like take plexus out of it. So then people will be like, oh, well, I have debt and I'd love to improve my health. Tell me more, you know, kind of thing. But the minute you say a company, then they go, oh, I've heard of that before. And then the conversation ends, you know?
Yeah.
So take the word out of it and put the emotion in it, you know, kind of a thing. So that's what I wanted to like share for today on what I would love for you guys to work on. And you can do that. I don't know if you guys started like some business pages that we talked about a while ago. Like you can do that personal, and then you can do that like on your business page. Like you could like, you know, make your posts even on your business page, so that you could like make a post on your personal and even just copy it to your business if you're building your business page and stuff like that. That you don't have to say your company name even in those posts either, you know, because it's like mine's like get healthy with Rachel, you know, gut health, you know, kind of a thing. And so then people will start following your business page because they're like, oh, well, I want more information on gut health. I don't necessarily want information on plexus, you know, kind of thing. So what questions did you guys have today?
Rachel, do I need to like go back 6 months and start taking plexus out of everything? Or
no, it was right before you hopped on. I was telling Abigail, I go, what I've done is I've just kind of started switching it over, and it doesn't take very long for that feed to get further down. So like I would just start out, like don't waste time like going back and cleaning up if you have a few things that you know are not compliant, instead of taking them out, I just switch them to not public. Like I just switch them to friends only. So if you're like, oh, I made this testimonial, it might not be compliant because I talked diseases and I made sure, and I mentioned plexus in there. I just go through and I just switch it. So just that one post is just friends only and it's not public kind of a thing. And that's how I kind of clean up some things that I'm like, oh, maybe that one wasn't so good to put, you know, kind of thing. But I don't, usually the only things I go back and delete is maybe like sales. If we had like a big sale and maybe like in 2 or 3 days you posted a lot about like free membership sale, free this, free that kind of a thing. Those are ones that I'll delete when I clean it up every now and again, just so if somebody went and scrolled through your stuff and you're like, okay, we're having this awesome deal. You need to contact me. We don't have it very much at all. They wouldn't scroll back through your feed and be like, oh, well, she's got it like here a month ago and then like here 2 months ago. It'll come back again, you know? So those are the only things I do. Kimberly, I was telling Abigail that like, I kind of have started doing that. And like, I had a couple people reach out to me that I've never reached out to before. And you know, it just slowly over time, like you can just switch it over and it'll be fine. Like I just went to my bios and I took Plexus out of there and put like gut health guru kind of a thing. And then just started doing some posts because you know what? It takes kind of time to like kind of learn how to do that and kind of go, okay, this is my post I want to post. How can I change it to just, you know, say supplements and not Plexus? And then within like a week or two, like you're going to have enough posts that are not going to have it, that the people who are already your friends, who already know you sell Plexus, they're still going to know you sell Plexus. So you're really doing this and just kind of changing over time so that as you build more people, that they're the ones that are going to start following you for other reasons, if that makes sense. So no, Kimberly, don't waste time by like going and spending hours changing all the posts, because the likelihood of somebody even going back and reading one of those posts is like 0 to none. Usually it's just going to be people as they friend you that maybe they'll skim through some things. You know, you just kind of move forward and go, okay, how can I put more feeling into it? How can I take Plexus out of it? How can I spark more of an interest and an excitement that people go, she only gave me a little bit. Like sometimes I think I make long posts and I try to like tell everything about it, you know? And I know in some of those IPA challenge, it's like, do a post of like, oh my gosh, I have more energy. I love it. That's like a 2-sentence long post that just people would be like, hey, tell me more, you know? And I don't know if you've ever seen those posts. It's like, I can't wait, only 8 more days. And then they don't tell you what's happening in 8 days, you know, kind of a thing. And you're like, well, what's in 8 days? Like, you know? And I'm like, I did that just the other day because it was this girl. And she's like, 8 days left. And then it was like tears. And I was like, well, what's happening in 8 days? You know? And she's like, oh, my parents are leaving on their mission. You know, they're going to serve a mission for 2 years. And I'm so sad. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But because she gave just a little bit of information and then the little emoji, it sparked my interest, you know? And so I was like, well, what's happening in 8 days? You know, so sometimes like less is, you know, better. Less is more, because you're just like, oh my gosh. Like I did a post the other day of like daylight savings. I woke up Monday morning, no problem. 15 minutes before my alarm clock went off, I still woke up even though it was an hour earlier. And I was like, okay, before Plexus, it would have taken me like 3 weeks of sleeping in, even past that hour, to like in my body functioning, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm so exhausted and it, you know, like I cannot get on this new schedule. And so I did a post that was like, wouldn't, you know, I'm so glad for this energy and stuff. And I didn't mention Plexus. You know, I was just like the supplements that have helped my body so that like I wake up and I'm not tired, you know. And I had somebody that was a newer friend that was like, I would love to wake up with more energy, you know? And so I was like, okay, like it kind of sparked some interest, you know, and sparked some talk. And so I've been like talking to her like in a message otherwise. So I would just, moving forward, like I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong, because there's nothing wrong with putting Plexus in your posts. I'm just talking about like, if you want to work towards branding and like getting that you're whatever, you know, like I'm the mom, homeschooling mom, or, you know, because people are going to follow you because of that and because how you connect with somebody. And then once you build that trust and relationship and they go, oh, here's somebody that like is really giving information and everything's just not a commercial, then they're going to reach out and go, I've watched your posts. I love what the information you give. I love your, you know, I have people all the time. I look for your posts all the time because you always have positive quotes, you know, kind of a thing. So I'm like, okay, they're going and they're reading through things because they're wanting to get the positive quotes, you know. And then people who are just like, your information's really good, you know. And I do have some people that are like, I love it. You're not pushy. You're not salesy. You're, you know, like you just have really good information on there. Well, eventually when they're ready, then they're going to reach out to you, you know. So yeah, I guess that was a really long answer to your quick question, Kimberly.
No, I just, like I think that my brand honestly is going to be motivation.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to just motivate people, like, to work out, like, no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
And that life is going to get in the way, but you have to stand in the way of life when it comes to your health. And so, like, I started looking at my Facebook, and I'm like, I really am trying to push that. Like, yeah, it's been a long day. It's 11:30 at night, but guess what? I just did a HIIT workout, or I just did yoga or Pilates, or, you know, whatever from a YouTube on my phone. Like, I can't afford a gym.
Yeah.
You know?
So if like motivation's your thing, then maybe you think outside of the box of what other value can I bring that's motivation besides supplements? Like, here is an awesome YouTube channel that I found that I follow that has all these awesome motivational posts or whatever, you know, and then every now and again you can post one from it, but you're doing actually a post on here is a tool for motivation. And not just like, oh, here's a YouTube video, watch it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, those are,
you know, and then you could be like,
1, 2, 3.
Motivation, like to work out. If you found like a group of women that you worked out with, you know, like all of those kinds of things where you're like giving ideas on top of supplementation, you know, and like, and I'm not very good, and I always forget like what day of the week it is, but I tried to do like a faves Friday, you know, kind of a thing, and I was showing my favorites of things that you're recommending, things that aren't just supplements. So maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I found this cool app that talks about motivation, or you can record your own positive affirmations. This is awesome. It will help you motivate you in your work, school, whatever, you know, kind of a thing. And so with your branding, you're doing awesome. Like your posts are like, okay, I'm motivation, but think of like, how else can I bring value to people through motivation that is recommending things, not just products? Does that make sense? Because then they're going to go, okay, this person, like in Colorado, like I think a lot of people, when I did hair in Colorado, like they knew me that I could recommend anything to anybody. Like they'd be like, I need my carpets clean. I'm like, here's your carpet guy, you know, like, oh, I want to do scuba diving. Here's your scuba diving guy. Like I recommended people all the time, and I didn't get anything for it. I just love to help people and be the like person who knew everything that I could recommend, you know, kind of a thing. And so then they would come to me and be like, okay, what products do you recommend? And I'd be like, hey, here's your Nioxin. This is what you need to use, you know. But and so yeah, Kimberly, I think that's great that you're like, okay, mine is positive motivation. Everyone can do it. Everyone can win. Sometimes it's hard. You keep going because your videos are great on that. Like I love your videos on that. And so I would just encourage you to keep doing that, but think outside the box of like, how else could I help people? Like maybe you find a cool water app. Okay, people need motivation to like get their water in. I found this cool app that keeps track of your water every day. Or I found this cool water bottle. I've seen one of my neighbors has it. And like as you drink it, it like, huh?
I'm talking to my daughter.
Oh, okay. It has like a digital thing on the top that how much water goes out the lid, like these circles. And so when all 3 circles light up, you've drunk enough for the day, if that makes sense. Like, and I was like, wow, I've never seen that before, you know, but she goes, okay, I know that I have to fill it up 3 times and like finish the water 3 times and then all 3 circles. And then I've had my water for the day, you know, like maybe you like recommend, oh my gosh, I found this cool water bottle that keeps track of my water. This is going to help you get motivated to make sure you're getting enough water in your day. And you use motivation and you use that word in all of your like, this is going to help you stay motivated. This is going to help you succeed. This is going to help you da 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 da. And so as people read, they're always like, she's motivating. She's like really helping people. She's, you know, motivating and not always about the products. Like these products will help you stay motivated, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? How you can like then get more ideas of like.
No, it does. Like
posting?
I've had a lot of people message me recently and they're like, you know, I just know that if you can do it, I can do it. And I'm just like, okay. So like, I just started trying to recognize that. And like, I think last week I posted one of the links on the tools in the back office from Plexus, like their favorite YouTube stations for working out.
Oh yeah.
I totally posted that. And like, I mean, I'm trying to go out of the box, obviously, but like people are just like, if you, a mother of 4, can get up, taking care of your mother and doing everything that you're doing, and you're still getting your workout in, I have no excuses. And so like, I'm glad that I'm helping with that. I don't know if you realize this, but about a month and a half ago, I backed off on my Plexus posts because like, and the other thing is like on my feed, I'm going to other people's pages, like my friends, not Plexus people.
Yeah.
And all I ever see is Plexus posts. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing wrong? Like, I'm following these people. I go on their pages. I comment. Like, I'm not even liking the Plexus posts anymore. I don't like them. I don't interact with them on my Facebook, you know, because it's like, I don't know what's going on with like them, but it's all screwed up.
It does take a little bit of time, because I've noticed that too, that I'm like, all I'm seeing is Plexus. And so then I'll have to go on my people who are non-Plexus, you know, and like look at their comment and more than just like, you have to like comment and stuff. And then I'm still just seeing Plexus, you know, and it could be that they're looking at yours. And so then Facebook is giving you some. So sometimes you could be seeing all Plexus, but the people you're commenting on could still be seeing yours, if that makes sense. Like, because you're not necessarily seeing the people that are looking at you. Because I don't know if you've ever noticed that, like, every now and again, if you do one of those, do you like chocolate or vanilla? And you get a ton of people commenting. People who are commenting are not people I've been to their page, you know? And so that's really hard, is that you just really have no clue. And Sean went to a training for real estate, and it was a guy talking about Facebook, and he's like, really 2 to 3% of your Facebook friends are even seeing your posts, you know? And so that's where you keep doing it. You keep, you know, like that, like still I've probably built 80%, 90% of my business has still come from Facebook, even if only 2 or 3% are seeing it. But that's where if you are cross-marketing and thinking outside the box and you're reaching out, then you're going to start, you know, pulling followers from other people. And usually when you first friend somebody and you first contact with them, that's when they're more likely to like kind of see your feed and watch your feed. And then they're usually likely to comment because you're new friends and they're checking you out and things like that, you know? And I did talk a little bit about Team Z app in that one post, but I have loved it. I'm still in my 30-day trial, but it comes on. It's not an app. It's a website, but you can download a shortcut. I don't know if it'll show up very well. I don't know if it's gonna. Oh yeah, there we go. So it actually has a feature for Plexus, like they do it for all companies. And this is like ambassador or prospects, ambassadors, customers, you know. And so when it'll automatically, you download your Facebook friends, if that makes sense. And it automatically like pulls them up here. So you can go, I need to follow up with ambassadors, and you click ambassadors and it will pull up all your ambassadors. And then it has you like follow up with them. And then after you follow up with them, you can either just hit followed up and it'll randomly put them back in the cycle, or you can put, I want to follow up with them in 2 days, or I want to follow up with them within 1 week. And then you put a week. So it's not necessarily like on April 6th, it's 1 week, 2 days, 1 month, you know, kind of a thing. And you rate them. So you give them like a 1 to 5 star rating. And like a 5-star rating is you make sure that you follow up with them at least once every 30 days. And so I've loved this because by having this, it has made me reach out to people on Facebook that I've never reached out to because I never knew I hadn't reached out to them, if that makes sense. Because, you know, you go on your Facebook feed and those are people you're seeing all the time. And so you're reached out to them, or you're thinking of them, or you're thinking they need the products, or they're posting about some health issue. And so I've reached out to them because they posted a health issue. And then you can go to your like friends list, but you all know if you have like 1,000, like you're scrolling through that all the time and you're like, have I reached out to them? Have I not reached out to them? And like to click on each person and go, oh yeah, I did. Oh, like it's so like, I was wasting way too much time. And so now I can pull up my Team Z app and I can go, okay, I need to hit 20 follow-ups, you know, 5 ambassadors, 3 new people. and it pulls up the person, and I can click connect, and then it just brings up the next person. And so, and I needed a way, because I used to have like these 3-ring binders and like spiral notebooks that I wrote down everybody and wrote down the date next to them of like when I contacted them, which is awesome for me because I do 90% of my stuff here at my computer. But when I was out and about, I'd be like, okay, I'm sitting in this carpool lane and I got a half an hour to wait for my daughter. Like, I could be reaching out to people on my phone, but I don't have my list in front of me. And so I was like, I've got to get a way to organize myself without a list. And so I love it because it can help you, even if you don't have ambassadors, like you put all your Facebook friends in, and it's just helping you remind who to reach out to, who to talk to, who to follow up with. And you can like make a little note like, hey, new Facebook friend, or you can copy and paste your message from Messenger to like, okay, I had a potential and we've been going back and forth on Facebook about the products. You can copy those messages into the Teamsy app in the notes so that when you pull up a person, you can see exactly like what your conversations have been about, and that you sent them this, they sent you this, you sent them this, and you can like keep track of them more. So whether or not you use that, or you use, there's like one that's called Pipe Drive, you know, or you just have notes on your phone, like it has been a way that I have like expanded my market and even reaching out to the people I'm already friends with, because it has helped me. It randomly pulls up names, and most of them I'm like, oh, I've been friends with this person for 2 years and I've never even said, hey, thanks for friending me, you know, this is a little bit about me, you know, that kind of thing. And so when I'm pulling it up, what I'm doing is I'm just starting conversations with those people, and I'm like starting to build those relationships, and I'm able to keep track of them a little bit more. So that's a way too that like you can expand your, I guess, Facebook network, because you can actually reach out to people that you haven't friended. So if you don't have an app, you know, and you're not ready to get one yet, pull up your friends, you know, and like go through them and just scroll through them, and like, you know, and there's probably people that you're like, oh, I haven't thought of her. And maybe just on a notebook, start with a notebook and like write down all those people, you know, and just say, okay, I want to hit 50 people this week. So I'm just going to go write down 50 people and then just take the first 10. And this week I'll work on those 10, you know, and if I am building the relationships and it's taking more time, I'm just going to stick with those 10. But if I've like messaged them and I'm like, oh, I have a few more minutes, then maybe I hit the next 2 on my list. And you work on those people for maybe a couple weeks, you know, and that's one thing I love the Team C is like I can put, okay, this is somebody I want to check back in with 2 days, or this is somebody 1 week. And so new friends, I've been just hitting them once a week, so that once a week I remember to go back and continue that conversation. And it has helped me establish relationships, because sometimes people will message me and then like I forget to ever go back and like look at it. And then I'm like, oh, that was like 8 months ago. They were like, sure, send me more information. And I like never remembered to go back to that person, you know? And so I was like, oh my gosh, like there were potentials that I kind of just let drop off, you know? So that's a way to kind of help it as well. Oh, yeah, we have eggs. Oh, yes. Yeah. So, so that's another way that even with Facebook's algorithms, you know, and you're like, nobody's seeing my post, you know, that you can like go on and start reaching out to other people. And so usually like I will pull up their feed and then message them and then go like or comment on 1 or 2 things, so that I've messaged them and I've made the comments, because I don't know if you're messaging them, if that doesn't count as interacting on Facebook algorithm. I have no clue. I just know that like usually like I'll message them and then be like, oh my gosh, I love that idea you had in that post or whatever. Or, oh, like a girl yesterday like posts about how she shops with all of her 31 bags so that her milk doesn't go cold, you know? And I was like, that is the best idea, because I usually grocery shop, put everything on the counter, and then an hour later I'm like, oh, I forgot to put the milk away, you know? Like, you know, so I was like, such a great idea that she takes like all these bags that like are the cooler insulated ones or something. So she's like, oh, then you know, everything stays cold, you know? And we started a conversation about that. And she's like, yeah, I sell the 31 bags. She's like, I think you know my parents, and we just like built, you know, like back and forth kind of a thing. And I'm like, oh, I just built a relationship with somebody that I have never met and didn't know, kind of a thing. And so then I commented like, what a great idea on her post, even though I had messaged her separately, kind of a thing. So, so then I know that girl is going to like kind of go back and forth with me for a little bit, well, I don't want that to drop off. So I might put, okay, come back to her in a week. So even though message kind of stopped in a week, I might like look at another post and continue the conversation instead of just like forgetting to ever go back and like talk to her again. And I think that's a better way to build the relationships, because you're keeping it going, because really you can't sit on that message all day long and just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Usually you go back and forth once or two times and then you kind of move on your way. Well, you got to remember to like come back, and you don't want to come back every day and like have her think you're stalking her, but like you want to have a good friendship where maybe a week later you come back and maybe ask her something about her kids or her family or something. So you're slowly building that relationship. You're slowly building that trust. So, okay. Do you guys have any more questions? Let's see. Yeah. So he brought up one point that like, like as you think of your brand, think of your niche of who you want to also help. That was one other thing, is that like Plexus is good for everybody, but if you try to hit everybody, sometimes your market's so broad that you can't focus in. So like in my mind, the ideal person I meet are tired, stressed, in-debt moms, and they're moms who are like 25 to 45 with kids, and they're usually a homeowner, And so like, if you kind of market okay, I'm reaching out to tired, stressed, in-debt moms who have kids 5 and under, because that's where I'm at in my life. Or, Kimberly, I'm reaching out to tired, stressed out, in-debt moms that need more motivation to know that they can do it too. And you're concentrating on that, like I have a gentleman and he's, working the business. So maybe his is, I reach out to men who are between the ages of 40 and 60, and I'm helping them with their health. And sometimes if you kind of can focus on, because we all know that we basically connect with people better who we have things in common with. So if I have somebody that is so completely far off from me, but they want to do the business, I have to find a way of like how to help them connect with their people when I have this other mindset, And so if you concentrate on, this is the kind of market, whether you're going after moms, whether you're going after dads, whether you're going after, like some people are like, I go after college kids and teach them how Plexus can pay for their college, and they're doing it as a business, So their posts are going to be centered around college kids and paying for college. Like, so as you're branding, if you decide who your target market is, it helps your branding. It helps you decide what your posts are going to be on. It helps you decide like what you're going to be centered around. Maybe the product you're recommending, like here is a great protein bar that I love as a mom, because when I'm out on the go and I forget to eat lunch because I am being a taxi mom, this is my favorite go-to protein bar. You don't sell the protein bars, but you're going to recommend that protein bar because that's going to help people in your mom category, if that makes sense. So that's another way that like your branding and your targeting market, you can like work us on focusing in, because, like we were talking the other day with Sean, and he's like, there's a ton of doctors out there, and doctors in general don't make that much money because they're just general doctors. They see everybody. They work in clinics. They have to see a ton of people. But that guy that is specialized, that like does brain surgery on that one part of your brain, well, he makes millions of dollars because he's so specialized, because that's his niche market. And there's not that many people out there for him, And so even though this guy could probably have more patients by seeing everybody, he actually is working smarter, not harder, because he's like, well, I just want to do this one thing, And so not that you would never sell or talk to people in all the categories, because if they reach out to you, you do. But if you focus on that one market, then it's easier to like find the people who are needing your products because you have things in common. So hopefully that helps too. Okay. Any more questions? Are we good for today? Okay, cool. Well, I will